Welcome, Gunrunner.
It was 1972. The A's had just won the World Series. It was apparent the Beatles weren't getting back together. Paul had Linda, John had Yoko, and I, for some reasons that escaped me, had Dorothy Miller, the goddess of Fulton Junior High. Back then, the only thing that held my attention, as much as Dorothy, was video games.
Cannon through the bathroom window.
This was great. For a pocket full of change, I could buy an entire afternoon. For both of us. What was Atari? Corporate parlance was not one of my strong points in 1973. Terms like international distribution and wholly owned subsidiaries could actually impair a 13-year-old's popularity. All I really knew was that the people at Atari managed to build a whole new industry on imagination. Then there was that word called technology. For years, I thought it was the name of a game. Or at least Atari made it seem that way, by using it to challenge my senses. I know it sounds kind of strange, but getting my driver's license at 16 wasn't that big of a deal. After years of playing games like Sprint, the only hard part was substituting a key for a quarter. However, I had to admit driving Dad's car did have certain advantages, like a back seat. Times were changing pretty fast. Vietnam was ending, and Atari Games had just been acquired by Warner Communications Incorporated. Along with Warner came the first game to use a microprocessor and growth motion hardware. And then Atari Games decided to bring technology right to your doorstep by launching the first home entertainment center. Pretty soon, everyone knew who Atari was. Atari Games' corporate identity was second only to Coca-Cola. To say Atari was hot in the summer of '79 would have been an understatement. It was more like on fire. With the release of Atari Basketball, along with other multiplayer sports games and one of the hottest games of all time, Asteroids, it's amazing I still had money for gas. What's even more amazing is where I started working that summer. Fate was kind. All those years of quarters were paying off in dividends with a real job and a first-hand look at how the people at Atari Games made their products come to life. Logic, order, and creativity were packaged into a summer I'll never forget. After introducing Battlezone, the first 3D game, and Tempest, the game with the first vector monitor, Atari was not only keeping pace, but evolving with technology. If the 80s were considered the years of consumer spending, then it wasn't hard to figure out where most of the money went. Video games.
Researchers estimate Americans spent up to $8 billion on video games last year. That's more than they spent on any other form of entertainment. And they're not just kids' games. More and more adults are getting into the video habit.
I play at least 5 days a week.
At least once a day, somewhere, someplace, I'll play a video game.
Between 1981 and 1983, consumers spent more on coin-operated video games than the movie and record industry combined. And it was easy to understand why. You could buy a fantasy for a quarter. And what kid or adult wouldn't want that? By 1985, the popularity of video games was settling down a bit. And that's when Atari Games released Gauntlet, the first game to offer a new level of interactive play, breaking the one coin per play habit, making Gauntlet the first game to earn over $1,200 per week. That one game helped rekindle a spark of optimism which the industry desperately needed. By 1987, people had developed quite an appetite for entertainment software for the home market. So, Atari Games, responding to the growing demand of their classic arcade hits, created a wholly owned subsidiary called Tengen Incorporated. By distributing to quality retail chains and specialty stores throughout the world, Tengen became a leading publisher of arcade hits by producing the lion's share of high-end video games for platforms like Sega Genesis systems. Tengen developed a comprehensive strategy to address the dynamic home video market, and now has worldwide presence in home video games and accessories. To coin a phrase, Hard Drivin' was not only the first game providing a full simulation experience with force feedback control, it was also a benchmark toward developing a new business for Atari Games. This same 3D technology was applied to the training and simulation field. 20 years and some 150 games later, there's no question that Atari Games dominates the coin-operated market. With the 90s comes a whole new generation of players, more discriminating and more demanding of what technology has to offer. Atari Games, together with Tengen, are planning for the future based on imagination and creativity, constantly striving for a deeper understanding of people and the games they like to play. Here's to a new generation and the next 20 years. Happy anniversary, Atari.
"20 years. It's been a long time. I can remember that when we started out, the thought of creating a billion-dollar industry was, quite frankly, so much out of our league. We were just barely happy if we could make payroll every week.
The next great thing was they always had a lot of presidents. They never were all together in the office. I remember times when they had 3 or 4 sitting on a beach, still getting paid.
Many of you are in the factory and not out dealing with the customers may think that doesn't mean a lot, but it means a great deal because I constantly have customers telling me Atari quality is the best in the industry.
Get your motor running, head out on the highway, looking for adventure, and whatever comes our way. Yeah, gotta go make it happen, take the world in a loving embrace, fire all of the guns at once and explode into space. I like smoking lightning, heavy metal thunder, racing with the wind, and the feeling that I'm under.
past 20 years, we've created over 150 video games. And we have a very good track record, I think, of successful product, many of which today have become all-time classics.
Probably that family atmosphere at Atari was special. And though we, as a distributor calling a manufacturer, we dealt with 2 or 3 people, I had occasion on a couple of times to go to the company picnic. And I think it was at Vasona Park.
Hard driving, race driving series was very creative, and it was exciting.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race with the Fords and Lincolns was setting the pace? That story is true, I'm here to say I was driving that Model A. It's got a Lincoln motor and it's really souped up. That Model A body makes it look like a pup's. Got 8 cylinders and uses them all. Got overdrive, just won't stall. With with a 4-barrel carb and a dual exhaust. With 411 gears, you can really get lost. Got safety tubes, but I ain't scared. The brakes are good, tires fair. Pulled out of San Pedro late one night. The moon and the stars was shining bright. We was driving up Grapevine Hill, passing cars like they was standing still.
In 1988, a little over 4 years ago, we created a wholly owned subsidiary known as Tingan. I think one of the special things that employees of Atari Games have is the heritage that comes with being part of Atari Games. We are the company that began this multi-billion-dollar industry over 20 years ago. And there's a certain level of ownership and a certain pride in that heritage that I think gives each of us as employees of Atari Games a very special feeling that I don't think you could get anywhere else.
Congratulations and happy 20th anniversary of Atari Games Corporation. We have been the leader of this industry from the beginning, when the industry was created by Atari 20 years ago. And all the time, till now, we have been the leader. And we're going to be the leader for next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. As long as the industry is there, we're going to be the leader. And we can only do that with your help and the great effort put into that goal. Let's do it. Thank you.
Still going, and going, and going, and going.